Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Investors Business Daily. I will leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So we're close. We're close to T-Mobile reporting their second quarter earnings. They actually report tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern. This one will be in the morning. And that's when they drop their second quarter numbers. That's when we get the subscriber gains, the financials, everything will be reported in the AM. Now, one thing, there's two things that we got to unpack in the short term, right? We got to unpack the second quarter earnings, and then we go into T-Mobile's Capital Markets Day in early October. And that's also discussed in this article. So I'm no financial expert, no stock expert, but in the title here, they're saying is T-Mobile a buy ahead of the second quarter earnings report, right? With all these fiber deals and the wireless business growing, are they a buy? And I'll leave that up to you. If you're into stocks, if you like trading, I'll leave that up to you. But I think the market overall is showing us that on wireless alone, T-Mobile is successful today. Fiber is they're just getting started on. They haven't even really gotten much traction and momentum on the fiber side. They're just making the deals. We're probably still, a year or so away on actually seeing impact on the balance sheet of these deals to where they are accretive to the numbers. We're not even going to see that anytime soon. So anything beyond just the deal itself is speculative. You're speculating because we're not seeing anything yet. We will, once the deals get approved and T-Mobile starts rolling in the brands and the marketing for it, and they start selling it under their brand, that's when we will see, okay, this is going to help. But for now, the only thing that we know is the deals are actually being made with Lumos and with Metronet. But we haven't seen any results or numbers that will impact the quarterly earnings. So I wanted to point that out. This is still very early on. So free cash flow growth and big share buybacks have been drivers of T-Mobile stock gains, while T-Mobile market share gains versus AT&T and Verizon have moderated. Wireless broadband subscriber growth is a new bright spot. So we kind of see that with Verizon. If you look at their consumer growth, they came in at negative 8,000. But if you look at their FWA growth, it's majority of their growth on the broadband side. Fios is even very, very small compared to FWA. I think they did like 18,000 gains or so on Fios. The rest all came from FWA, so that's something to point out. So that's a new growth avenue for both Verizon and T-Mobile. So the interesting part here is Capital Markets Day. I've been warming you guys up to it. This is going to be a big one. This is the long-term guidance the next long-term guidance. So the guidance should be through 2030 that they give us at this Capital Markets Day. So that's going to be very, very interesting to unpack once T-Mobile reveals the guidance. T-Mobile is the second largest mobile network operator in the U.S. And again, that's postpaid based. For those of you who go on Wikipedia and look at the overall numbers, this is postpaid only. So we see a more favorable competitive landscape for the U.S. wireless industry in the medium term. T-Mobile should benefit from that. Like I said in previous videos, T-Mobile says no matter how the competition goes, no matter how healthy the market is, we will remain at the top when it comes to wireless growth. So if the market grows less, T-Mobile will still come out ahead. If the market grows more, T-Mobile told us they will come out ahead, and that's what we're seeing in this paragraph. We view T-Mobile as a net share gainer, but believe this momentum is beginning to moderate given improving execution at Verizon and AT&T as T-Mobile expands its ambitions to consumer broadband using a mix of fixed wireless and fiber we believe the company can sustain its revenue, EBITDA, and free cash flow growth trajectory. So that's interesting, right? Improved execution. That's kind of tough, right? AT&T is executing. They're growing. This recent quarter that they just announced, they did 419,000 ads, beating expectations that came in at like 280,000. But for those of you who remember, AT&T used to grow more. AT&T used to do 6, 7, 800,000, if you remember that, just a few, couple of quarters ago. So yes, they're still executing in a positive way, but they're not doing as much anymore. So they're slowing down too. And then Verizon, they're not really doing much on the consumer side, right? And that's the way that Verizon reports it. It's not up to me. It's not up to you. They report it that way. They report the individual business growth and consumer growth. So they're not growing on consumer. So are they really executing? So it's really just AT&T and T-Mobile that are actually growing in a positive manner. And T-Mobile more so than anyone else. So it's really playing out just like T-Mobile called and said at recent earnings calls. So Capital Markets Day is going to be very important for analysts, investors, and everyone that's interested, right? Because this is the next 5 years or so that T-Mobile will give us guidance on. And that's when we will get a clearer picture on where they want to go with fiber, how aggressive they want to get. As the numbers get better, right? They've done the math. They've clearly done the math behind the scenes, and they saw what they liked what they saw. So with the deals like Pilot and Intrepid and Tillman, the smaller deals that they struck, like across Florida, parts of Colorado, some in Manhattan, New York, they really saw a big number to want to go this big on the deals. And like I said, the whole capital light structure is already out the window. So they're going to have to sell the street on something else. They've been using capital. We're going to do capital light. As soon as you spent $4.9 billion on MetroNet, that capital light model went out the window. So either one or two things are going to happen. Either you're going to have less free cash flow, or you're going to spend less buybacks next year to fund these fiber deals. One of the two things. If you guys want my guess, it's going to be less buybacks. I think they're going to do less buybacks. Starting next year, they're going to reduce that, and they're going to invest that capital into fiber. And I think the market and the street will be okay with that, because it's going to lead to new revenues, especially as analysts are pointing out that T-Mobile's growth is going to slow a bit, moderate. So to fuel the next wave of growth, they're going to say we're going into broadband. T-Mobile knows, into fiber. T-Mobile knows how to sell. They know how to sell the market, so they're going to do this as smoothly as possible. So they're going to transition into fiber. That's the next big thing. They tried TV, that didn't work. But the FWA piece, right, the broadband piece over the wireless network, that has clearly worked. That is 100% working. So they're not going to slow that down, right? They're going to announce a plan to continue doing the FWA because they can get to places faster than they will be able to with fiber. Fiber is going to take some years. Like, as an example, Lumos, 3.5 million, it's going to take till 2027. And the 6.5 million from MetroNet, that's going to take, I think, all the way through 2030. So that's a lengthy time frame to build out. FWA, you can get there much sooner, right? For an example, in El Paso, if you want to keep up with demand, because there's clearly more demand than FWA slots that they can sell, they can start doing millimeter wave point to point. You put it on the window, you put millimeter wave on the macro, boom. You can sell more FWA that way. So this Capital Markets Day, I feel, is going to be a bigger one than the 2021 Analyst Day that they had when they were really like introducing the merger and all the benefits from the merger, like where they would get with finances. That was the first time they really introduced that. Post-merger, and this one is even bigger, I think. This one is really going to show us where they're going to go with C-band and DoD, how they're going to do in rural. This is going to show us the financial outlook as well, and then this is going to show us how big they're going to go on fiber. And it's going to give us an idea and understanding how they plan to provide further capacity for FWA growth. And they have to provide that because 7 to 8 million, you're getting closer to 10 million. You got to provide an update on the capacity situation. Even though you might be able to currently handle it, you still have to take into consideration further growth on existing FWA customers. They're going to have higher usage. They're going to buy newer TVs perhaps that can do 4K. Maybe they got 2 more gaming systems. Now their usage has increased. So you got to give an update to the market as to how you plan on handling that continued increase of usage. Are you going to look at those markets and say, well, the FWA usage is heavy, let's try to get fiber in there? Or are you going to start deploying millimeter wave? Because that's clearly going to be a faster deployment. So that's just a few things, right? The U.S. Cellular deal is going to close. We should get some insight on that as well at the Capital Markets Day. Just a few more numbers, right? We didn't really get a lot of numbers, so they should show us at the Capital Markets Day where they plan on taking that U.S. Cellular situation. It's going to close in the first half of 2025. I'm confident in that. I think to initially integrate, they're going to use the synergies. I don't think they're going to spend any hard capital out of their current capital allocation or portfolio. I think they're going to use the synergies to invest into U.S. Cellular. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like in size and scale as say the Sprint merger. So if the deal presents, I don't know, 2 to 3 billion in synergies, I think T-Mobile will take that 2 to 3 billion, invest that right back into U.S. Cellular, and then integrate the network, right? The 2100 site, they're going to have to integrate those sites with T-Mobile equipment, and then they're going to put to use the U.S. Cellular spectrum assets on its sites as quickly as possible. I don't know if they're going to have to deploy new radios or if it's all software-based, but they're going to use those synergies. The 2 to 3 billion, I assume, is what the synergies will be, and not facts, but that's what I'm thinking. Sounds about right. And I think they invest that back to get that going, the integration process, as quickly as possible and get that done. I think it takes maybe 2 years, if that. I don't think it's going to take much longer than that. A year to 2, and then that's going to be over, and the 2100 sites will be upgraded with T-Mobile equipment, and T-Mobile will have a more robust coverage portfolio. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let me know if you're looking forward to T-Mobile's Capital Markets Day. There's going to be a lot revealed, and it's going to be very interesting to keep track. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Live. See y'all in the next one. Peace.